What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to put in some more work on the project CRX with the LSVTEC swap. If you guys haven't seen the last video we finally got the car to turn on and it sounds freaking awesome. We connected the mid pipe to the car, but it was still kind of loud because there's no muffler. So I feel like what I want to do today is build the axle back, and based off what I have around the house, not a muffler that I would prefer, but the only muffler that I have was provided by the homie Christian. Let me grab it real quick. This right here is a DC Sport N1 style canister, and this is what I typically call a far cam, but you know, this was on Christian's car, RIP Christian, and this sounded pretty good in his car. And the reason why I have it now is because he upgraded to full 3-inch on his CRX, and he chopped this off and he was like, I'm sure you can make use of it. And I was like, yeah, you know, bring it over. We'll let it sit around until we figure out if we're gonna use it for something or not. So I figured, because this CRX on the driveway has a half-cut bumper, it doesn't matter which side the muffler exits on, because the cutout for the exhaust system is normally on the driver's side, but because it's half cut, it doesn't matter which side we put the muffler on. So I figured we'll just use this to go right over the LCA, right out the passenger side, and have a muffler system to tone down the LSVTEC. So I did go to the parts store yesterday to grab some piping to do the axle back. These are two 45-degree, 2.5-inch. This one right here is gonna go from the mid pipe, and then it goes up over the lower control arm, and then we're gonna have to figure out to go from here to the muffler. But I do have plenty of other 2.5 tubing lying around that we can make do with, and I do need to grab some rods to do some hangers, because this is all I have left. But I do have a hanger as well too, I bought yesterday. So with that being said, I'm gonna do some cleaning with the muffler, and then we'll figure out how we're gonna route this on the car. As I was cleaning the canister, I noticed that this center section right here is separating from the housing itself. You can see the gap right there, where on the other side, no gaps at all. So before I even get this to mock up underneath the car, I am gonna TIG weld it a little bit just to ensure that this doesn't break off later down the road. Check it out, not too shabby. I did wipe it down, I did wire wheel it, I did Scotch Brite it, and this isn't the greatest material and it's super thin, but regardless, we got some welds on here all the way around. And now let's go mock it up. I think I'm gonna put the wheels onto the car just so I can back the car around and work in the shade instead of out in the sun. So grab my wheels. Man, this thing needs some tires. Sheesh. We're not going to take the car for its first drive because the car doesn't have a coolant radiator set up just yet. I'm just going to roll it off the driveway, turn it on over there, and reverse it up to the driveway ASAP. It just occurred to me, I can't shift the transmission because the transmission is cable and the pedal is hydro. So what that means is I'm gonna do the muffler last, and I'm gonna install the hydro conversion kit. This car has a Hush Performance hydro conversion. It had a hydro transmission in here before. And then over here we have a cable B16 transmission, which uses a lever and a clutch cable. So the solution for this right here is all in this package. Let's unpackage this real quick and show you guys what's inside. Cut away from yourself, not towards yourself. So I got this kit from swapshopracing.com. This was the only place that I can find that can ship it to me like ASAP, and I got it within 2 days priority. Obviously, you can convert a car that runs a cable transmission like the CRX, the EF, or the DAs to use a hydraulic transmission. But if you want to use a cable transmission in a car that's hydraulic, say from factory, like the EG, DC, or EK, or in this case a CRX with a Hush Performance kit, you can use this hydraulic conversion bracket. This right here bolts up to the cable transmission, and then it comes with a rod and heim joint that you have to drill out into the lever on the transmission that is usually actuated by the clutch cable to run a slave cylinder. So this right here is what I was waiting for to show up so we can get the transmission to work and shift when the car is running. So let's get into the engine bay and install this. This little bracket here bolts up to 2 of the 12mm on the transmission case, which I believe is these 2 right here. Okay, I'm a little sad because this line is not long enough to bring the slave down to the bottom. That kind of sucks. So it turns out that my clutch line was actually just caught up on the brake master, and now I was able to pull it all the way through. So according to Hush Performance video on YouTube, the slave goes on the passenger side of the bracket. So it's gonna sit over here like this, and before I mount this in place, I need to figure out where the heim joint is gonna land on the lever so we can drill it out for the rod. This kit doesn't come with a template where Hush Performance shows theirs came with a little template to align on the arm itself and then drill the hole out. So we're just gonna eyeball this. This car didn't come with the original boot for the slave, so I'm either going to buy a new one later or hopefully find one in the junkyard or something. But right now this heim joint on the rod is adjusted all the way down, and where I would want this to be is where the lever is all the way up without pressure. So right now it looks like it's all the way up because there's barely little play, and I'm just going to lock it in place, go step on the pedal and see if it moves, and if it moves then I think we might be good. So according to my phone, it does move, but the pedal is very, very soft. So I may have to just bleed it out a little bit. All right, guys, I'm gonna set you right here on the floor and hold up this muffler to kind of show you guys what I'm thinking. Do that quick little JDM tilt right there. You know, the Skylines and stuff don't really have their muffler sitting straight and out the back. They have it at a little tilt. Gives it that extra JDM scene points. And it looks like for me to get more a little clearance, I'm gonna have to remove the sway bar bracket right here. Since there is no sway bar anyways, I'm gonna remove the brackets and give me a little more space to kick the muffler out and center line to the mid pipe right there. I don't have a 2.5 flange, so I may cut that off and weld this directly to the mid pipe, but we'll see. So I have the big jack stands propping up the canister where I need it to be, or more or less where I want it to be. And I'm very fortunate that I have a lot of scrap material and I found a flange. So I measured it out. It is about the same as the one that's on the car, this guy here. It's actually a little bit smaller, which I don't think is going to be too big of a deal. So instead of cutting off that flange, we're going to bolt this one up and then we'll build a little tail section that goes to the canister. Measure 1,000 times, cut once. Not saying it's perfect, but it's almost perfect. Yeah, look at that. Yes, sir. Every time I start welding, the wind wants to pick up, so a lot of like contaminated areas because of no coverage. But we got the entire seam welded up right here, and the two down there, and these ugly hangers right here. Now these are cut offs, so there's no like nipple on the end of it. I had to put some tack welds to ensure that the rubber doesn't slide around. And yeah, this is pretty much done, so I'm gonna throw it on the car, and I'm really curious to see how this thing sounds. All right, muffler is on. I'm gonna go ahead and fire up the car and see how it sounds. I'm not sure what's going on, guys. It's not turning on. Oh, actually, hold on. I know exactly what's going on. The car is so jacked up. The gas is either empty or it's all the way forward and the fuel pump's not picking it up, because inside the car, the fuel pump is louder. So let's drop the car. Just that quick little rev, it has a raspiness to it. But it is what it is. I'm not tripping off the raspiness. It looks good, it sounds good. Let me give you guys a couple of revs. I can't get the car too hot because there's no cooling system. shabby, not too shabby. The light and flywheel brings up the RPM really quickly. Kind of liking it. I've just been sitting here for about 30 minutes now and just overall looking at the car, and I'm pretty stoked that this car is turning out friggin' amazing really quickly. Just looking at the hydro conversion with the cable transmission is pretty cool. The concept is pretty cool because I've never actually ran the kit before, or this style of a clutch actuator before, and I'm really sitting here wondering if the radiator hose would clear that, because it's kind of in line in the same spot. But we'll make it work. I'm not worried about it. The radiator still needs to go on. I got to get a sheet of aluminum so I can make a shroud before the fan goes on, before the radiator goes on, before the hoses, before the cooling system. Really, all that's left is the radiator system, injectors, ECU, and this thing can go to the dyno. Just learned that my tuner is not going to be here this weekend, so we're probably going to push the schedule back a little bit and schedule for a later time for a remote tune, and maybe we'll try to get both of these cars back on the dyno at the same time. Who knows? As far as this video goes, I think I'm going to cap it right here. We made some decent progress. We got the transmission shift in with the innovative adapter to the hydro conversion, and we also got the axle back made up for the rear of the car. I drove it off the driveway, went around to the little corner right there, came back and made its way back up, no problems whatsoever. The exhaust is a little bit raspy, I'm not gonna lie, but at the end of the day, I'm not sweating it because this car is going to go. It sounds pretty good, and I'm really curious to see how it'll sound up the RPMs with these big tube header and the full 2.5 exhaust system. I hope you guys enjoy a little bit of progress on this new CRX build. If you guys did, be sure to leave a thumbs up, and if you guys want to stick around for more shenanigans with this car, because I got a couple of things on the way so we can button up the engine bay a little bit, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.